Welcome everyone, video lesson number 5, Mr. Pasco here. Today's question says, how can we use double number lines to find equivalent ratios? So this is our third strategy to find equivalent ratios. Our first strategy was looking into ratio tables. Our second strategy was using a tape diagram. And this is our third strategy of double number lines. I hope that you're able to see similarities when finding equivalent ratios. We know that equivalent ratios are two or more ratios that express the same relationship between the numbers, and we saw the multiplication relationship in video lesson number 4. Let's get started. Example number 1. Robert bought 8 candles for $25. At the same rate, how much would 18 candles cost? So I think that this information, the fact that Robert bought 8 candles for $25, is important. Letter A says, use a ratio table to determine how you found your solution. Now you can set this ratio table up either vertically or horizontally. In my case, for the sake of space, I'm going to make it horizontal. I set the ratio table so that candles are on top and dollars are on bottom. The only information we know right now is that 8 candles cost $25. I can't think of a factor when multiplied by 8 will give us 18. I can't think of one right now. So what we can do is we can break the ratio of 8 to 25 to a more simplified ratio so that we can build it back up. If we divide both 8 and 25 by 2, we'll still have an equivalent ratio. So I know that the cost of 4 candles, 8 divided by 2 is 4, has a cost of $12.50. 25 divided by 2. Now I still can't figure out a factor when multiplied by 4 will give us a grand total of 18 candles. So what we can do is we can continue this pattern of simplifying. If I do 4 divided by 2, I'll end up getting 2 candles. Whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom. 12.5 divided by 2 is $6.25. Now we have a ratio that we can work with. I see that 9 times a factor of 2 is 18. Whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom in order to keep our ratios equivalent. 6.25 times 9 will give us our solution. The product of 6 and 25 hundredths times 9 is $56.25. 18 candles cost $56.25. Let's move to letter B, example number 1. Use a double number line to demonstrate how you found your solution. So if you know what the traditional single number line is, we can use a double number line to compare two quantities. This is the basic makeup of a double number line. Again, I have candles on top, dollars down below. Those are our two quantities. We know that 0 candles cost $0. We also have some information regarding 8 candles costing $25. Our solution is to figure out the cost of 18 candles. Similar to letter A, I can't think of a factor when multiplied 8 by some number that will give us 18. So again, what we have to do is we have to break our ratio down into a more simplified ratio in order to build it back up. So if I divide both 8 and 25 by 2, I'll end up getting 4 candles costing $12.50. I still can't figure out a factor when multiplied by 4 that will give us 18. So again, we have to break it down one more time. Let's divide both the top and bottom by 2. When we divide this ratio by 2, we end up getting an equivalent ratio of 2 candles costing $6.25. Now, once again, this is something that we can work with. I see that 2 times 9 is 18. Whatever I do to the top, I have to do to the bottom to keep our ratios equivalent. 6.25 times 9 is $56.25. Our answer is right at the end here. Our sentence says 18 candles cost $56.25. I think that you can see the relationship between a ratio table and a double number line. They are very similar. In fact, you can see that it was the same exact process. We started with 8 to 25, and we ended up breaking the ratios down twice in order to build it back up. Let's move down to example number 2. Beth went on a vacation to Mexico and exchanged $30 for 500 pesos. Beth decided to buy a t-shirt for 150 pesos as a souvenir. What is the equivalent of 150 pesos in US dollars? We're going to use a double number line here. We know that 0 US dollars is equivalent to 0 pesos. We know that 30 US dollars is equivalent to 500 pesos. We know that Beth bought a t-shirt for 150 pesos. That's going to be right about here. Now, this is one of those instances where we have a ratio, and if we simplify it down enough, we're able to build it back up so that we find our solution. Now, I can't think of a number when 500 is divided by that number to get us to 150. So if we break down 500 into something even smaller, we may be able to build it back up to 150. If I divide 500 by 10, I end up getting 50 pesos. In order to keep equivalent ratios, I have to divide 30 by 10. That will give us 3 US dollars. We now have the equivalent ratio of 3 to 50. In order to reach our solution, I see that 50 times 3 is 150, and in order to make an equivalent ratio with 150 pesos, I have to multiply US dollars by 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. That being said, 9 US dollars is equivalent to 150 pesos. Video lesson number 5. I'm hoping that you're able to see the relationship between a double number line, ratio table, and equivalent ratio. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you.